is I'd like to change how we do the door prizes since we're doing the cutting competition, since it was such a hit this past year. I'd like to try to start the door prizes as early as 10:30, and we can hand the Mississippi songwriters a schedule. Like we'd like to do one, say every 30 or 45 minutes. So that way, that was. I didn't get an argument with them or anything, but it's like, okay, can we do? We need to do one more song, and you have to wait, to the end of the song, and then you can do the announcement. Like just give them the schedule and be like, hey, I just need you stopped at this time, so we can announce it. And I must be present to win.
Yeah, that's the key thing.
Yeah, I had to mail off, 5 different items, to people that couldn't meet up. And not that I minded paying the shipping or anything, it is for our, show and all that, but it is a headache. It was an absolute headache, and then it was a headache trying to get people who were local to try to meet up at a normal time. And as Brian knows, the shipyard time is not a normal schedule for most. So that was a bit of a headache. So I'd like to change that if y'all are okay with it, and then say it like about 1:30. Let that be the end of it, and we can start the cutting competition, as kind of our grand finale there at the end. That's really about the only thing I'd like to change. And I'm sure everybody wouldn't mind that. I must present to win.
Yeah. I think it's good. It would. Well, it encourages people to stay, for one thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it takes the burden off of you of trying to locate them and get the stuff.
Yeah. And I didn't mind it so much the last couple of years, but this past year, it got me, to say the least. And as all of y'all know, my house situation is not the greatest, so I had kind of a double whammy going on right there. So I'd like to try to, make it as easy as possible, with that right there. And the cutting competition I felt like was really, really good. There was only one person. Joey asked me if I would let him come in because he was a good customer of them to let him in the cutting competition. I still think though that we need to make sure that it's pretty much exclusively to somebody that we really, really know, to actual vendors being in the competition.
Your insurance knows you have a cutting contest.
Yeah, they know it. And it wasn't any extra, because what the great thing is that it covers knives, it covers guns, it covers fire, it covers all of it. So as long as we keep it like we do, and then we'll probably move it over to the concrete, because I was sweeping up all them little blocks of wood and chips and stuff like that, so the horses wouldn't step on them. We put it right there on the concrete and we just sweep that right over.
A lot easier.
Yeah, and that's really about it. And what I'd really like to do is if everybody could, I don't mind if y'all send me some pictures of your work, or I have permission to take some pictures off of Facebook and start doing some vendor spotlight, because we're in April.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's here. One of the things that they do really good in Texas is the vendor spotlights, and there are people that are you're friends with that didn't even, somehow or another didn't see your post about it, but they see that you're tagged in it, and they're like, oh, well, I will go and see that now, because that, my friend is there, and it will draw in, people that may have never even saw the, the flyer in the first place.
What are we doing as far as advertising?
Right now we paid $175 for Facebook advertising, and what that does is that gets to all basically the vendor groups is what that does, and that actually picked up some guys from Picayune is what that ended up doing. So we're going to have snow cones, what is the
Well, we got to get it. Yeah, but we got to get it out to not just vendors, to people. I got one of the flyers and I printed out a bunch of them.
Well, it's targeted for everybody, but we picked up a couple of vendors because of it. Those particular vendors, it was a snow cone. One of the guys does the coffee stuff, and Mr. Reggie and the barbecue pit is going to be there. So we got them for sure, and then it also combines with the other local, what's the word I'm looking for? It combines with all the local other shows and stuff like that, and attaches to their page.
Okay.
As well. So we got that advertised.
Yeah, and Andrew's doing something other. I'm not sure what he's doing in social media.
So like I don't know how to describe it as well. Andrew can describe it way better than I can. I cannot articulate it as well because it's a foreign language to me. But it's all a foreign language. So like he puts on the Greenville show up there in Greenville, Alabama, that they do the medieval festival. Mm-hmm. Well, it somehow or another attaches to their flyer, on their advertisement, and then vice versa. Is what it does. So it's going to all of those local shows and things like that.
Yeah, like I said, I know that we usually just do flyers and stuff like that. We didn't put out a lot last year. Like I said, I printed them, put them in the yard, put them everywhere I can, think of. Yeah. Soup ship and NAFC. Yeah, it's definitely. I really like how he did the flyer this year. The flyer this year was really, really good. So I think we ought to keep that same format, and all we have to do is just change the date.
Yeah.
On it every year. But I think that's been our best flyer.
Yeah, I stuck one on front of the little bulletin board there in front of the drugstore there at Van Cleve. So.
I got some in the courthouse.
There's another thing that I'm going to have them put that up on the sign in Van Cleve. Mm-hmm. Only problem is, I think it only can be seen but one side.
Yeah, you got to look quick. You got to be looking for it whenever you go through.
Yeah, real quick. And I've also talked with Miss Karen, and I'll come out of pocket on this because buying a sign is really not that much. But she's the one that volunteers inside the concession that sells water and drinks for her charity. And she also will take names and hand people their tickets and stuff like that, and it won't cost us a penny. I'm getting with her to get a sign made so that way we can, kind of hang it out right there. And the sign's only like $40-something. So I mean, it's really nothing, and we can only gain from it with that right there. Yeah. And I need to try to drive by WLOX or call somebody. Anybody's willing to go on the WLOX and talk about the show. Me and Mr. Paul did it for the Picayune Arboretum. It's not real hard or anything like that. All they'll do is post up our flyer and talk about it a little bit, answer a few questions. If anybody wants to do that, I'm more than happy to let anybody do that if they want to do it. Any volunteers?
Yeah, man, you can go do it again.
Like you go do it again. You can go do it again. I'll call it back. Think here. I mean, really, that's really about the thick of it there. Pops is still coming, so we'll make sure that they have their center spot, and we'll make sure that we have our the way that we go around. Kind of feel like that's pretty good. Sharpner will not be there. What was his name? Can anybody remember the Sharpner, the older fellow? What is his name?
Yeah.
He's not going to be here this year. I agree. It's not a bad thing. What is his name? Runnels, James Runnels. Yeah, that's it. He won't be here. I know Mr. Paul is going to be bringing his Grizzly, and we're going to try to, but we're going to offer sharpening for free. If anybody would like to try to take turns, maybe, just so that everybody can see a different Smith.
Right.
It's just an idea. I don't know how many people are really going to, if they're going to be in line, so to speak, but we are going to advertise that, just free sharpening, and just kind of try to help each other out with that. I don't mind standing, for an hour or so, or vice versa, whatever y'all would like to do, because he'll have his Grizzly grinder, all his sharpening belts, and his buffing wheel right there, so it won't be anything hard to do.
Right.
I also was thinking about maybe having something like some sort of raffle there to try to bring in a little extra money since we're not charging people at the door. Is anybody against like some sort of raffle? Like we have our door prizes, and all, we have our door prizes that we're giving away for free.
My motorcycle club over Mobile, the Goldwing Club, they do a 50-50.
What's that?
They do a 50-50 raffle, like you can buy tickets, and we give half to our charity, which is one of the organizations in Mobile we give to, and the other half of the money goes to the guy with the tickets. So that usually does pretty good. I don't know if this is Mississippi, we're in Alabama, if that's something against gambling like that.
No,
I don't think so.
They do it at drawdowns and all that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it may be some other little aspect to add, in there with that, if y'all like that idea, but I mean, I don't want to put too much on our plate where we're sitting there trying to, run all these different things, and we're also trying to be by our boots.
Don't want to overthink this whole thing here.
Yeah, that's right. I think Philip DeBumpo is going to be bringing his grinder again.
I'm going to bring my little, that was another thing, James does the sharpening. He's been at our thing several times. Is not going to be there this time. So I'm going to have my little grinder, and I'm going to offer free sharpening.
Yeah,
so that's one of the draw. Pass that word along. You got knives you need sharpened, bring, and I'll sharpen it for free. Where James, I think he charged $5 a knife or something like that.
Yeah, that was what I was saying here, and I was also telling people that we may want to try to take turns to give you a break.
Yeah.
Of doing it because don't know how many it's going to be.
Yeah, how busy it is.
You never know. There might be a line out the door, and then again, there may hardly anybody.
Yeah.
Come up. And I'm more than willing to be sharpen knives for an hour or so.
Yeah.
If I need to. Or anybody else that would be willing. Do that because you got the grizzly grinder, all your sharpening belts, and your buffing wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all right there.
Sure, a lot of people like it. Most people got them stainless steel knives and you can't sharpen them.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people are coming up that see the sign and they're like, oh, hell, I got my pocket knife on me. I can't get this thing sharp for nothing. And that right there will really, that right there will really incentivize people to come.
Yeah.
At least try to.
So it's crosses.
So I had another thing. You know how Pops typically unloads the night before.
Yep.
And all that. I was, and it's a good thing because we can all kind of have our pick of the litter right there. Are we wanting to try to have something at your house the day before?
Yeah, we're going to do that Friday evening, or noon or so. Meet at my house. Kind of, and then we'll just get together and maybe grill some hamburgers or something like that. It won't be as elaborate as it was last year because that was kind of my 50th anniversary.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, just they'll come and lower their tailgate. We can maybe get a little early selection of handle material and stuff there. But just hang out in the shop and play around a little bit, and then leave there and go to the arena and set up, and then Saturday morning would be the big event there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad that we're.
Yeah, we'll plan on meeting say at noon or 1 o'clock something at my shop there.
Okay.
And they normally, I think they usually rent a house that weekend in some area.
Yeah, somewhere in those.
So yeah, it'd be convenient. Of course, I always get them a sack of oysters because they love oysters. So I'll do that.
All right. Is there anything that I haven't covered that anybody has a fresh idea or anything that we'd like to try before the show? I mean, I feel like this year we're actually going to be seeing a lot more than last year because everybody knows it was the end of the Biden administration and no one really knew what was going to happen with the election, and pretty much knife shows